Alrighty. This is where having a second person would be helpful.
Okay.
So what you can do is basically you can control which screen is being used by doing that between the video and the actual presentation.
Okay, cool. Do you want this muted?
No, that one should be muted,
Okay.
but we need to switch to the wireless headset. I'll actually explain what we're doing in just a minute.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is use this as a wireless mic, and that way the audio quality will be much better.
Cool. Wow, brilliant.
Okay, and testing, yep. All right, well, welcome everyone. My name is Matt Kaufman. I work here at MK Partners, and I'm one of the co-organizers for GDG-LA. Our main presenter is running a little late in traffic, so we'll start off with some recaps and presentations of previous stuff, and then when our main presenter gets here, he'll take over and get to the good stuff. So recently our last meetup was on Dart. Some of you may have been there. And Dart is a language that Google has put together to allow you to write JavaScript more efficiently. And you're writing JavaScript that runs more efficiently as well. It's actually put together by the Chrome team at Google. So they're really thinking about how can we get pages and applications to behave better and run faster inside Chrome. I haven't done any tests to see if code compiled via Dart runs faster in Chrome than in IE, but I'm assuming it does. So that was one of our last meetup, and we'll probably do another future meetup on that, and we'll have some other materials for you for that too. Here's just some highlights that Gerard put together. You want to actually do these? You're going to have to stand here and wear the mic. Come on up. All right. This is Gerard, our other co-organizer. Go ahead, put the mic on.
Who went to the last one?
Okay, that's you. So good. So this is new content. This is the Cliff Notes version. So Dart basically it's like C++, except it has some enhancements. So this one named optional parameters. This is I guess kind of like in C#. You can have parameters that are named, and also they can have default values. This one's nice. You can make a function just by using this notation right here. The equal, greater than. And also they do what they call method cascades. So it's kind of like the dot notation in JavaScript. You can just keep on doing dot dot to set properties in a class, and you can keep doing a dot dot on a new line until it terminates with a semicolon. Another one is the tree shaking. What they do here, a lot of programs, you'll say import this library. And import a bunch of libraries, and some of them you might not use, some of them you'll use a subset. So what this does, it will only factor in the areas that you use. So it results in a smaller compiled object. Data binding of model to DOM. What this means is that on your view, on your HTML page, you can refer to elements on HTML using IDs in the tags, and then on your code, you just use the ID to reference it, and any change to the data model will change on the page. So this one. There's a code lab we went through last time, and we're just summarizing the steps. It's a fairly long code lab, so hopefully this helps. So in the step 0, they have a setup, and what you do is you download the editor, you unzip it, and you open it in the editor. Then in step 1, you run it. It's 7 steps total. So you run it in what they call Dart. Oh, hold on. So here, environmental. So Dart, when you download it, you get 3 things. The editor, which is based on Eclipse. Dartium, which is a Chromium browser, Chromium-based browser that has the Dart VM, and also a Dart virtual machine that you can use to run it on the server side or on your local machine, non-web. So fast forward. So yeah, in the step 1, you just do a test run of one of the projects. There are 7 projects in the code lab. So, and there are 3 files. Just the Dart code has a .dart extension. Then we have HTML and CSS. So it looks good. And we'll have this presentation for you linked. So in step 2, we're adding a field. We just have a text box and hook it up to Dart. So on the UI, on the HTML, we just add a text box with an ID, specific ID. Then in the Dart code, we do an import. So it's like C++, you do import statements on the top. And then you do something to hook it up to a listener, kind of like in JavaScript. And then, oh, show the code? Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. So at the end, there's a bunch of links. Step 0, step 1. Yeah, so in step 1, there's nothing, right? So in step 2, we're going to add the text box around here. So we type something, it displays over here. Yeah, so so that's what the text box will do, and that's why we have to hook it up to a listener and hook it up to a span to display it. Then in step 3, we add a button. Basically, if you don't want to type your name, it will make one for you. But right now at this stage, you only get one name for simplicity. So yeah, objective is to add a button, and it's but it's only enabled when the text box is empty. So when we type something in, it's grayed out. And so the UI modification, we add a button, and then we create a button element. Since this is in the Dart code, and then we hook it up to the listener, and then we set an event handler for the clicks. So let's see. So this is step 4. In step 4, we're adding this part, does something. So it adds complexity. You put the pirate into its own class, and then you Then you give it, you make a random number generator instance. And then in the class contains the name and this part, the appellation. So the random number generator just picks a string from here. So it always changes the second part. Then, yeah, so we preload the first names and last names, and then we create a constructor. Okay. Step 5, this is, if you do HTML5, you're probably familiar with this. So right in step 4, the names and appellations were stored in hard-coded into the code, but we want to start making it memorize things. So that when you type your name and you close your browser, you can retrieve, it will retrieve for you the past values. I'm not actually going to close this, but it's going to work that way. So yeah, so we're making it remember the last value after closing the browser. So the names and appellations are now uploaded to a JSON file. And then we have a function that will retrieve the pirate's name from local storage upon page load. And also we have one that will retrieve it. No, first one is to set. So when you type something in, it will save it to local storage. And then we have a get function to retrieve it upon page load. So, let's see, so next part. So the next part, so this is the JSON file. We have a bunch of names and appellations. So this will just give you random names and appellations here every time you click. But there's more to it. So yeah, it starts to talk about futures. This is the future in this case is used when you load the JSON file. This is asynchronous. So the future says when it's done loading, run this function. So in this case, and we also changed the initialization of names and appellations to an empty list in the beginning, and then we retrieve and parse through the pirate name JSON file into a variable, and then the random. Then it just picks one entry from the JSON file from the variable, and then in step 7, I mean, at this point we're pretty much done. In step 7, it's just showing how you can build it into something that runs on a browser that doesn't have the Dart VM built in. So right now it's pretty much most browsers. So what they do is you can compile it as JavaScript and then just run it, like a regular HTML file from a browser served by a web server. And then here are all the resources. The main slide deck we got last time, and the code labs are in here, but I broke them down to these. And also there are a bunch of YouTube videos. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. What's that? No, we'll have a link. We'll have a link for you.
All right, so we are doing some stuff that's a little different today, as you may have noticed. We actually have a Hangout on Air that's running right now. And if we go to the GDG-LA page on Google+, you'll be able to see how, in the future, if you wanted to, instead of coming here, you could actually just watch it live as the Hangout will be streamed, or watch it later on YouTube. And another nice feature about that is, and I actually had this turned on, there's a party mode that if you're running Google+ on your device, whether it's a tablet or phone, any pictures you take during the event, when you turn on party mode, will automatically be uploaded to the event. And so if we come here, you can see here's the live stream, but there's also the events that's going on right now that you responded to somewhere on here. Let's go to events maybe. And you'll see that the pictures I just took were automatically uploaded. I didn't have to do anything to upload them. There we go.
Yeah, do I need to be in a particular directory when going through terminal to update Cordova or to Fox Cordova?
That's a good question. Yeah, yeah. So you'll see here, I took a couple pictures. I didn't upload them. It automatically got uploaded and related to this event because I turned on party mode. So it's a great feature. So if you have Google+ running on your mobile device, go ahead, you check into the event, you turn on party mode, it will ask you. So it's not going to be automatic. And for the duration of the event, so from 7 to 9 in this case, it'll automatically upload any pictures. Which means just be careful if you leave early and you take a personal picture somewhere, it's going to be uploaded. Just be aware of that. I'm sure there's a way to turn it off, but just something to think about before you do it in advance. It was a neat tool. This past weekend, actually, I went up to Google's headquarters up in Mountain View for a summit for some of the organizers to attend for North America. And this was one of the techniques that we talked about, this live stream on air, as well as the party mode and things like that. And what I did, one of the other organizers created a infographic on how to set up a Hangout on Air plus the stream and recording to YouTube. And I practiced earlier today to make sure that I could get it right. It was a little tricky. Once you've done it a couple times, it's much faster and easier to get. The gist of it is you do need 2 laptops or 2 computers. Whether they're laptops or not doesn't make a difference. Ideally, you also have some type of higher quality microphone than the ones that are built into the computers. And so what we've done today is I have this Bluetooth headset made by LG, which I normally just use to listen to music and talk on the phone and do that type of stuff. And the laptop over there, which you won't be able to see on the recording, is actually kind of our booth where we're controlling which camera is being used and things like that. Technically, we can have a bunch of cameras in the room. Each of you here could join the Hangout and share your camera and do different angles, and we can mix it and do things like that if we wanted to. This laptop up here, the one that does show up on the recording, is the presenter's computer, and that's where we join the Hangout from here, we join it from there. This one we're going to share the slides from, and that's all we do from here, share slides or share our browser, whatever it may be. And the result is a somewhat professional looking video, much more so than if the camera was just at the back of the room or the camera was just right here on my face, that type of thing. So what we'll do when the meetup's over, we'll stop the Hangout, it'll automatically get saved to YouTube, and then we'll share the link so everyone can go ahead and see what it looks like.
Will this screenshot the presenter? Will it do this capture the screenshot of the computer or the presenter?
Yeah, so what we've been doing while Gerard and I have been speaking, we've been basically mixing, going back and forth between the different angles. One angle is from this webcam, which captures me speaking, and then the other angle is the presentation that you see on the screen there. And In the future, ideally, we'll have a camera maybe at the back of the room, a camera at the front of the room, and so we can kind of get different angles. And it's as easy as just clicking on which picture you want. If we do have another room, somewhere else in the world even, we can even jump back and forth between there. So one of the topics that we discussed, we had basically a representative from almost every GDG chapter in North America this past weekend up in Mountain View. And what we discussed is if we can coordinate our meetups to occur at the same times, we can co-present. So if we have someone who's presenting on a topic, they can just watch our presentation. And then by joining the Hangout, we'll be able to see them. They'll be able to see us. They can post questions to the meetup as well. So you'll be able to post questions if you're at home. There's basically an app for Hangouts that allows you to post questions and answers. And we can kind of collaborate across the world technically. But for purposes of time zones, most likely it'll just be within North America. So that'll allow us to have access to speakers that we normally wouldn't have access to, because we're not going to be flying people across the country to come speak here for 2 hours. And they're not going to come here just for the pizza. So, yeah, question. Yeah, no, there are limitations currently. Is it 25? It keeps going up. So a little while ago it was like 10. Now I think it's up to 25. But you can still watch it live on YouTube. So it's actually a live stream. So even if you're not in the Hangout, you can still watch it. And so you know, we'll be able to figure stuff out. Ideally, if a lot of people are going to watch and they're all going to be remote, we would try to pick locations where they can watch from. And so as we were discussing before we officially kick off the meeting today, it's very difficult in LA because traffic. And there have been times where we had a meetup and there's 2 accidents on 2 different freeways. We might as well cancel the meetup because no one can show up. So if we can find other locations throughout the city, it would allow us to kind of expand and have one person who maybe speaks from here, one person who speaks from there, but we coordinate it so that we're actually watching the presentation in both places.
So this will actually be uploaded into the YouTube channel of this one?
Yes. So this video, me speaking and you asking the questions, although to be honest, the questions from the audience don't pick up very well with this microphone. So the presenter should actually repeat the questions and then answer it, which I broke the rule. But this video will be on YouTube for everyone to watch from now on.
I mean, you get a good microphone away from everybody.
We could do that. We could get another microphone. We could pass the microphone around. I mean, depending on how great the question is, we'll either bring the microphone to you or I'll just repeat the question. So, but this, I mean, it's a great tool. Definitely, if you do presentations like this at your home or work, doing it in this fashion makes it look way more professional than a single computer like we've done in the past, where we just put the laptop in the back of the room and no one can see anything and no one can hear anything. So here's the infographic. I've already shared it on this events page. We'll also share our slide decks that we have today on here as well. And this was done by Akil, one of the GDG organizers at another chapter. You can see just all sorts of other stuff he put in here. Another thing that we talked about was that if someone wanted to test this out before doing it for real, that's something that we can help with. So if you want to test this out, we'll remotely join your Hangout and let you know, I can't hear you, I can't see you, move the camera a little further, whatever it may be, and give you kind of some feedback. But so far, it seems to work really well, and like I said, it's much more professional looking than just the laptop in the back of the room.
Probably good for corporate environment.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, we did a training in here that was just internal training, but we recorded it, and it was so bad that we deleted it because it was just the one laptop. And so we're going to do it again now that we have this technique.
And it just knows at what point to switch laptops?
No, so you can do that. So Hangouts is smart, and it will jump around based on the speaker, but what we recommend is allowing the person at the primary laptop to kind of control who should do what. So in the case of the one room, and we really just have one presenter, we're pretty much just keeping it between the 2 modes, the screen being shared and the one camera. But if we have another location or if we have other cameras, then you would jump around more. And there's features to say, don't show the video of anyone who joins the Hangout, don't show the audio. So depending on the nature of the conversation, whether the attendees are welcome to ask questions and be seen on camera, you could choose one or the other. This particular headset, coincidentally, is the one that we also practiced with this past weekend, even though I wasn't the presenter. So it seems to work well. It's just an LG, it's about $60. But they said other ones that work well too. This one is very light, so you don't notice it. You could even just walk away and not even realize it. And it's Bluetooth. So, all right. So we have another presentation while we're waiting. And Gerard, is there anything I should know about this presentation before I start?
Do you know who the second slide?
Yeah, I know David Hasselhoff. Oh yeah, this is about wearables. Oh yeah, the API yesterday. For the last couple of months, I think it was around the Super Bowl, there's been a lot of hype about Android devices that you wear. I'm wearing one right now, Google Glass. And a lot of the hardware manufacturers have been making watches and various other things out there that run a flavor of Android. And so we'll go ahead and pull up some of these links here. So I think yesterday actually was the announcement. Google opened up the Android Wear API. So they're not giving away devices yet, but if you're interested in developing software that runs on a watch or Google Glass or something like that maybe doesn't even exist yet, this would be the API to start exploring. And I signed up as soon as I got the notification, and within minutes I was accepted. And I was like, oh, great, but I don't have anything to play with. There is an emulator you can play with, but I do not have any watches that run Android.
So it runs on top of Eclipse?
Yeah, you can just use the normal environment and then use an emulator for it. There is an app, though, that's available on the Google Play Store. So if you can get a device that is compatible with it, you can try things out. And here you can see it. So it doesn't seem to be a very exclusive developer preview. So if you are interested, go ahead, sign up. Yeah, this is like pre-beta, I would say, at this point. But it's a neat concept. You definitely would be at the cutting edge of development. And it only seems like there'll be more and more in this realm of apps and devices, especially as everything gets smaller. We're able to fit more into a watch. That's the picture of David Hasselhoff talking to Kit remotely with his watch. Go ahead and watch this one. I don't know if we have any of these on. Yeah, mute it. Yeah, I don't know if a surfer would really. Is my audio back on? Got it. I think what I need to do is mute this here, but I have no idea how to do it. So we'll figure it out another time. I personally think that video is ridiculous. No one would ever be giving a bath to their kids and wearing a watch like that. I may put my phone so far away when my kids are in the bath because I'm just, it's totally fall in. It doesn't matter. All the electronics go away from the bath. The water doesn't stay in the tub. I'm assuming it's not. Yeah, the surfer also. I don't really see a surfer wearing the watch, but the rest of it I could see.
Biking.
Yeah, biking. I wear this while biking, and I use an app to kind of keep track of how fast I'm going and stuff like that. So I could see that being useful, and it probably is a lot less awkward on the bus than this. I get a lot of weird looks when I'm wearing this by people. No, and you know it's funny because I'm always paranoid about that too. I'm on the bus. There's like a somewhat crazy person across from me, and I'm like, okay, they might just try to grab it off my face, or they might think I'm the Terminator or something and try to kill me because you know I'm a robot. So I've been a little nervous to wear them. I usually keep the shades on when I'm wearing them.
Is that the Gen 2 second?
Yeah, everyone has them. They took away the old one. So I'm not going to play all these videos. What we'll do is we'll just share them with you. But here you can see what the watch may look like. I don't know if this one's even being sold yet.
No.
No, so I think this is probably a
That's the Motorola.
the Motorola, yeah.
Somewhere.
So it looks like a normal watch, but the screen is actually a display, and you can interact with it like you would your phone. I don't know the charge times and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure that is something to figure out. And, well, I'm sure there'll be people who are concerned about wearing a wireless device. But here's a little more about the preview itself. I'm hesitant to push play. Let me see how we can figure this out. So basically what we need to do, I need to mute the output of the audio from here, which I don't know if we can do that.
I can use it here.
Right, but then the video, the recording won't have any audio. So,
You can turn off
yeah.
the Bluetooth.
Oh, our speaker's here. That's okay. So, like I said, we'll be uploading links to these presentations or the links in the presentations to the page for the event, and so you'll be able to see more about it. Also, let's just do some shout outs for various things that are coming up so you can catch your breath. Google Code Jam is in the works. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's an intense competition. Unlike most hackathons and things like that, it's a different type of programming that's required to solve puzzles. And there is some time aspect involved, although for the early rounds, it's not as important. It's a global event as well, so if you look at the schedule, the times sometimes seem a little odd. So for instance, this year, the event starts March. Oh, did we already start? Registration. Sorry, registration. We're still good. You have 32. You have a couple more weeks to register. The qualification round is on Friday, April 11th, and what is that? 23 minus 12, 9 o'clock p.m. Is that right? Did I do that right? Or 9 a.m.? 9 a.m. 7? Are we 7 or 8? I don't know. This is being recorded for everybody to see. Anyway, you can see they try to vary the times is the point because there are different people participating throughout the world. But you get, in this case, 25 hours for the qualification round. So regardless of what time zone you're in, you should have enough time to participate. But then as you go from round to round to round, you'll see there's less time allocated. So there will be one round at least where you're working at midnight or 3 a.m. or something like that, and you don't really have a choice if you want to continue. If you make it to the finals, which is unlikely, no offense, yeah, it's not likely. It's really not likely. You wouldn't be here. You'd be practicing if you were taking it seriously. You get the free trip to go there, and there's all sorts of publicity and stuff like that. But it is fun. It's free. Yeah. If you can write it, you can do it. And technically, you can just use your head even, as long as you're able to document how you did it in your head. That's valid for the initial rounds. For the final round, that wouldn't be valid. Yeah, it's
and then you have to upload your code, and then the code, and then the output. Your code generates an output file.
Yeah. So the past challenges are available for you to see, and it's fun just to kind of try it out and play and see what your code experience and skills are like. So this particular one, Tic-Tac-Toe-Mech, I can't remember if I did. I think I didn't do this one. I think I did some of the other ones. It's a 4x4 square board, and it starts empty. And basically, you have to write code to describe the current state of the game based on some other stuff. And so you can see here, the first line of the input gives the number of test cases and so on and so forth. So they give you this scenario, and then they give you some data to fit the scenario. You can come in. And you have to write code that runs through it. And then there's all sorts of stats and stuff about the different submissions. You can see the languages that were used, the times that it took people to do it, so on and so forth. 91% of the people who attempted it got it correct, and so on and so forth. Here you can see what the practice file looks like. Oops. Oh, is it a weird... So you'd have to write code to parse it as well, which is part of it. So you can see here, this is the tic-tac-toe board. And so you have to write code not only to figure out the problem, but actually parse the file properly and things like that. So there's some upfront work that you can do. But it's a really neat experience. We had a good meetup on it last year where we just kind of talked through the problems and try to figure it out together. So if you're at all interested in that, highly recommend looking into Google CodeJam or code.google.com/CodeJam. The other thing to be aware of, I/O 2014 is on the calendar finally. I think it wasn't the last time we met. But that'll be in San Francisco on June 25th and 26th. If you can get a ticket, good luck. Yeah, this year the process is supposed to be better. But we still don't know everything about it. But if you're interested in the event itself and want to see what it was like in past years and things like that, the website is still up for last year with all the information as well as sessions that you can watch and things like that. It's a great event. It's definitely not free. It is expensive. Plus, you're in San Francisco, so that's expensive too. But if you get a ticket and you can go, highly recommend going. It's well worth the money. This year, they say that you will have to apply, and there'll be some type of selection process. Either way, regardless of whether you go or apply or don't apply, there will be an extended event, which is basically where we do a remote event to watch a live stream of the event. And typically, there's other stuff that goes on too. Most likely, that'll happen at Google's offices in Venice, but that will be free to attend. And it's lots of fun. We did that last year. And there was swag and food and people from Google who didn't attend the event but came to our extended event instead. Yeah, that'll be an official event. And that's typically just the first day, so it's not a 2-day thing. Yeah.
And then from there you get to pick a conference room for what topic you want.
Yeah. So, or you go to the beach, yeah. So definitely, I'd recommend putting on your calendars. Definitely the first day. Second day, there will be live streams of various stuff, and so you can watch that too. Last year, there were a lot of big announcements. I know there's going to be a lot of big announcements this year as well.
So it'll be June 25th. We should plan on going back.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
And they have a raffle.
Yeah, there was a raffle. There's
None of us.
a lot of people at the end. So. Do we need more time still? Do you need more time? Or are you good to go? Okay, a couple more minutes. We don't have a date for our next meetup, do we?
No, that's it.
No, okay. So we will get something on the calendar soon for our next meetup.
You want to look at the I/O event from that thing?
Oh, yeah, we can look a little more at last year's I/O, yeah.
So at this point, everything we're going to go in the meeting is going to go on YouTube.
Yes. Yeah. If you don't want to take strict notes, that's okay. So here we'll look at the agenda for last year's I/O, which was in May. This year it's in June, a little later. So it is a full day of stuff if you go. The extended events are a little more laid back, plus you're in a smaller room, so you're not going to be running around, and you can relax a little more. So there are pros and cons to going and not going, obviously. But the keynote there from 9 to 12 will be streamed live. And some of the sessions are as well. Not all of them, but a lot of them end up being recorded, and you can watch them later. We're working on trying to get some type of remote viewing / control ability for the GDGs that we'll be able to connect to like a robot or something and have it move around, or some type of drone or something that's at the show, and we'll get our 5 minutes to control it and do stuff like that. We're working on it. We'll see if it happens. Yeah. So here's some of the sessions that happened. You can see. So obviously, a lot of it's related to Android, and I'm sure this year there'll be a lot of it on Android, Google Glass, Android Wear, things like that. Chrome, I'm sure, will have a big part of it too, as well as Dart and Angular.
How is Android related with Chrome? Is there any attempt to put that together? Not really.
At this point, they're still separate, but there's been some employee staffing changes and stuff in the last year. So, and there's the Chromium OS.
Oh, yeah.
So it's possible that there'll be more synergy in the future, but right now they're still separate.
We have the Chrome to phone.
Yeah.
API before.
Right.
So you can.
There's the Chrome to phone app. I use the Chrome to phone app all the time. So I'll be on my computer, I'm about to run, just hit the one button, and it sends that URL to my phone. That's a great app. Well, but if you're in a rush, right. Right, yeah. So you'll see here there's a lot of code labs as well, where you can actually sit in a room and learn how to do various things. So here you can see location-based services, wallet, etc. Google Plus sign-in. The old Google sign-in is being deprecated. It's a very old version though. Google Plus is definitely the preferred method now. There's an event actually next week on the Google Cloud Platform. Let me pull that up too while we're at it. On the 25th at 9 a.m. I believe our time.
So sorry for terrible late. Hi. Thank you for coming to my Android development using Cordova and Forgans and Google Maps plugin. I'm Masashi Katsumata, Google developer expert for Google Maps community in Japan. So before starting my presentation, I'd like to ask you a question. When you get a new idea, do you think you want to create a simple application quickly? Nobody? Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So you would probably create your application as quickly as possible without spending much time. So, and you might aim to Android and iOS, but if you are not familiar with Android programming, then you need to learn Java and Android framework. Or for iOS, Objective-C and iOS framework sounds like a painful process, doesn't it? So in this case, PhoneGap is one solution. So in the beginning, I will talk about PhoneGap and Apache Cordova. These are the main libraries for today's talk. Then I will demonstrate how to create a simple application in the second part. Finally, I will introduce my Google Maps plugin. This plugin is really useful to create a map application using PhoneGap or Cordova. At least I think so. So many people might know the name of PhoneGap. By the way, how many of you are familiar with the name PhoneGap? Oh, that's good. Thank you. PhoneGap enables you to create a mobile application using JavaScript, HTML5, and CSS3. It means you can use a bunch of JavaScript libraries, easy HTML5 structure, and CSS3 animation, and your knowledge of creating web pages. One of the benefits of PhoneGap is you can create your application for multiple platforms easily. You just create your application using JavaScript, HTML5, and CSS3. Then PhoneGap generates a hybrid application for multiple platforms. PhoneGap version 3.4 supported platforms are Android, iOS, Amazon Fire OS, BlackBerry 10, Firefox OS, Ubuntu, Windows 7 and 8, and Kaizen. This is a screen capture of my company's application. As the application starts up, the logo image bounces up and down. This animation is generated by a CSS library. You can implement this animation just a few lines like this. You can also this library for your web page. I want to drink a yeah, yes. Sorry. Yes, jQuery. So like this example, you can use your favorite CSS and JavaScript libraries such as jQuery Mobile, Backbone.js, or Bootstrap. So I will explain the PhoneGap hybrid mechanism. PhoneGap application contains a web browser view. Your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files run on this browser. PhoneGap controls this browser and communicates with your JavaScript. For example, when your application is launched, the PhoneGap library notices the device ready event for your code. Then your code initializes your application. When you need native features such as accessing to a camera, you can use a native plugin. Your code calls the native plugin code through the PhoneGap and gets back the result data, such as image data. PhoneGap provides many native features: battery status, camera, video contact, device, and so on. These native features depend on each platform. For example, if you want to implement camera feature without plugin, you need to understand how to access to a camera device using native code. But in case of PhoneGap, you just write down a few codes. Then you can get the image data. This means you are able to concentrate on your application's UI and logic. If you want to add more native features such as barcode reader, you can find plugins from the internet, or you can also create your own plugin. When you want to create your application, you would read the PhoneGap document. Then you will find the word Cordova. What is Cordova? Have you ever heard Cordova? A few people. Oh, thank you. Let me talk the PhoneGap history a little. PhoneGap was developed by Mitobi Software since 2009. Then Adobe bought the company in October 2011. At the same time, PhoneGap was donated to Apache Software Foundation under the name Apache Cordova. According to PhoneGap's FAQ, through the Apache Foundation, future PhoneGap development will ensure open stewardship of the project. It will remain free and open source under the Apache license version 2. PhoneGap is open source distribution of Cordova. Think about the Cordova's relationship to PhoneGap like WebKit's relationship to Safari or Chrome. Actually, Chrome uses Bearing? I forgot. So, yeah, WebKit engine. So, when you want to create a complicated plugin, the Apache Cordova's source code helps you to understand the mechanism. At least it was really helpful for me. So, part 1 is almost done. So, PhoneGap creates a hybrid application. Cordova is the same as PhoneGap, but it's open source. Supported platform is variable. Many native features are available, and you can create your own plugin. So, is there any question around here? Yes.
The licensing has changed once somebody got PhoneGap.
No, still Apache license too, I think. I will check later.
You can develop commercial applications.
Yes.
Is there an editor? They have an editor that you use.
Editor?
Like IDE.
No. Okay. Okay, part 2. In this part, I will explain how to create an Android application. By the way, so the latest PhoneGap document recommends installing Cordova instead of PhoneGap. I usually use Cordova. So from this slide, I will explain based on Cordova. In the second part, I will explain how to create a camera application. The example camera application has a button. So click it, then open camera view. After taking a picture, it will appear in the application. But you will learn how to create an Android application, installing plugin, building your application, and running on your device through this example. Okay, let's move on. Before running any command line tools, you need to install Android SDK. To create or build a project, you need to install Cordova command line interface. To install the Cordova command line tools, download and install Node.js and Apache Ant. Node.js application are written in JavaScript and can be run within the Node.js runtime on Windows and Mac OS. Also, Linux works with no changes. Apache Anto is a software tool for automating software building processes. Finally, you will install Apache Cordova through npm command. So npm is a package management system for Node.js. To create your application, go to the directory where you are maintain your source code and type a command Cordova create. So this command generates project files under the folder you specify. Then move into the project folder. All subsequent commands need to run within the project directory. Before you can build the project, you need to specify a set of target platform.
Question. So
yes.
my camera project directory.
Yes.
You can create that before that line, right? Like that line will create the directory for you and also put in the other file.
It's me.
I'm saying, for the create my camera.
Yes, it's my
camera part. That directory is being created through that line, like that folder is being created through the line. You can create it beforehand, right?
Yes. So you can build a yes. Question? Okay. Oh, sorry. So before you can build the project, you need to specify a set of target platforms. I'm talking about Android today. So type command Cordova platform add Android. You can also add other platforms, iOS, Windows Phone, Firefox OS, something like that.
You can do multiple in the same line.
Yes. This is the folder tree of generated files. The www directory contains project web assets. These are your main application assets. The index HTML file will be displayed as your application. The config XML file is an important file. You should be edited to modify your application metadata, such as application name or version something.
Name or what?
Version. I'm sorry, I'm not native English speaker. So other directories omitted today for when you create a new project, the default application doesn't have any features. You can edit the index HTML file with your favorite text editor. Also, you can add plugins to use device native features such as camera. You can find various plugins at plugins.cordova.io. For adding a plugin, in order to add a plugin, type Cordova plugin add package name.
Are those Apache licensed also?
It depends on plugin. Okay, it's time to programming. At the beginning, you will need to create a typical HTML file structure into the HTML file. Then press a button and an image tag in the body tag. So the Cordova fires this event. Cordova fires device ready event when your native JavaScript site are loaded. So the application contains of two code bases, native and JavaScript. The browser event window onload means browser is loaded completely, but the native site is unknown. So you should wait your code initialize until the device ready event. In the event listener, device ready for the device ready event, bind an event listener to the button. Then in the on button click the function call navigator camera get picture. This method is added by the camera plugin. Then get pictures will open the native camera UI through the plugin. After the taking a photo, return the image data to the on success. Well, the image data is encoded with base64. You can display this image using the image tag or import to canvas tag. Okay, coding is done. Next, run this application on your Android. Connect.
How does this handle the media query?
You can specify an option.
So we just put it at the top. Or does it automatically scale to the automatically to the device? That would be both.
No.
I think you said it's 400 with
Yeah.
the picture.
Yeah. This is a picture size.
So I'm just talking about the whole application. How will it look on like the various different phones? You get different size. I mean, you can like use CSS. Oh, then suppose you should use the CSS. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Okay. In order to run your application on your device, connect to your PC, then type Cordova run Android. After installing, the application should start up automatically. Yes.
You have to do some settings with the phone.
You should enable the debug mode for developer debug mode. That's all. So this is really easy, right? Is there any question out here?
Do you have to do any decryption for OS?
No.
So the libraries are all the same.
Yes.
Can you detect the screen size? How many pixels your size is?
Yes. If you use a plugin, you can detect. Any others?
So at this point, it's not really deployed on the device, it's
Mm-hmm.
depending on, it's not even created deployment program.
Yes, yes.
Getting a deploy that,
Uh-huh.
how to deploy, how to distribute your
Okay. So, under the, okay. So, under the platform and Android directory, you can find APK file, that executable file.
What?
Executable file. So you can find that file and deploy to Google Play Store.
Also generate the compiled binary.
Mm. Huh? Google Link?
Oh, it's like
Ah.
the last slide.
I will share this project slide after this presentation. Sorry. Okay. Okay. In the last part, let me introduce my plugin. So I have been developing a plugin which allows you to embed Google Maps in your phone app or Cordova application. Google provides 4 Google Maps APIs to embed maps to your application or web pages. Google Maps JavaScript API is the most well-known API. This API allows you to create a map in your web page and enables you to control from your JavaScript code. Google Static Maps API creates your map based on your parameters and returns the map as an image. With the Google Maps Android API and Google Maps SDK for iOS, you can add fancy maps to your application. You can communicate with maps from your Java or Objective-C code. The maps automatically handles user gestures such as clicks or drags. Oops. Just a moment. Okay. In these APIs, the easiest API is the Google Static Maps API, definitely. But the generated map is not interactive. Google Maps JavaScript API is the most popular way, but this API is not suitable for application uses because it cannot handle user gestures. Google Maps Android SDK and Google Maps SDK for iOS handle user gestures and display maps with better performances. But they don't communicate with your JavaScript code. So let me show you a demo video. This screen capture shows you how different behavior two APIs. The left side is Google Maps JavaScript API. Other hand is Google Maps Android SDK v2. The map of Google Maps Android SDK zooms into the position with smoothie animation, and it allows you to rotate the map head. So, do you think you want to use Google Maps Android SDK v2, don't you? Yeah. Oh, thank you. At least I wanted to use it. There is no plugin to meet my certification. I created a plugin by myself. From here, let me introduce my plugin, PhoneGap Google Maps plugin. This plugin enables you to embed a Google Maps into your application quickly. This is a screen capture of demo code. So, this map shows as a dialog, always show a dialog. At the beginning, I will explain how to show a Google map. The index HTML file has a button in the body tag. In order to use PhoneGap Google Maps plugin, you need to get a map instance. The getMap method takes a little time to initialize the Google Maps SDK. The map files fires map ready event when the map is initialized. So you need to wait until the map is initialized. When you click the button, open the map dialog. This code works like this, the right side screen capture. To change the center position of the map, you might need to know the camera view. Google Maps SDK has a camera, and the application displays the map through the camera. The camera has 4 parameters: target, zoom, title, and bearing. The target parameter indicates the location of the center of the map. Zoom parameter indicates the zoom level of camera data, the camera. Sorry. The tilt parameter indicates the view angle. You can specify the tilt value between 0 and 90 degrees. The bearing parameter indicates the direction in which a vertical line on the map points. The PhoneGap Google Maps plugin provides the 2 methods of changing the camera view: move camera and animate camera. The move camera just changes the camera position. The animate camera changes the camera position with animation, like this. She's my fiance. Hello. In June. Yeah. Actually, next week I will go to Japan to meet her parents. Yeah. Yeah. Adding a marker is easy. You just pass the position, tilt, and snippet parameters. The adding a marker runs as asynchronism, and the marker instance is passed to the callback. times like this. So I will show you a demo. Just a moment. What? Oh. Okay. So initialize map is like this. It's really smoothie. And adding a marker with icon, you just specify an icon for that file path. Or you can specify HTML HTTP URL. Oops. Oh. And adding this 64 encoded image, you can specify like this. So play the demo. It works like this. Other polyline is you can pass the points, color, and white other parameters. Like this. Polygon is almost the same. By the way, you can specify a color with your HTML color code. You can also specify just red or black, white. So the plugin passes the HTML color and change it to the Java code or Objective-C code. Adding a circle is easy.
Just like this.
Just like this.
You can also
implement
ground overlay
with
like this code.
Oh. Okay. For remove the ground overlay, just remove. Oops. And adding a tile overlay, you can implement your tile. So this is example. Like this. And remove it. So final feature. So I'm creating loading KML. This is not supported by Google Maps SDK. Oops. Loading. It's gonna be take a time. Yes. Like this. So that's all. It's really easy, huh? Oh, sorry. Okay.
So what you've basically done is you've given us the power of the Java plugin, the ease of use of the JavaScript. Very cool.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
Oh. Okay.
Half an hour through.
Okay, my plugin is available on the GitHub, so please try it. So that's all for my presentation. Is there any question around here?
Yeah, I'm having trouble with my installing everything. I keep getting errors.
Okay. So installing is kind of complicated.
So like I installed
So you can find install tutorial up here.
Can you go to the URL?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's in
Okay.
the README.
So you can follow my tutorial. Maybe you can get.
Can I hear your URL?
You can also get a demo APK from here, and you can see differences.
That's just for the map, right? The other thing, like you said, it's on Node and all that stuff.
Tutorial included. No. I have other tutorial for installation and or something. Node.js. But I will create a tutorial in couple of minutes, couple of days. No, I can't. Couple of minutes.
Yeah. Talk down that, right? Okay. Yeah. I think there's something in addition that's what I
So Marker has many features.
I didn't. I couldn't get in to install using the instructions on the AMP website. I had to do through the AMP. They were fine. Having trouble with Cordova itself. We use the tax standard to install it. So this shows examples of they give you a call.
So that's all. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Knowledge. How long have you been doing math?
Over 6 years.
Is that a pretty big division of Google Maps? Is that a big part of Google Maps?
No. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. With your tile overlay, I assume that when you're making your image, that you have to get it zoom level perfect so that as you're zooming your stuff in and out, it zooms correctly. And I noticed your map overlay fit really, really well. Because I was thinking of using it for, I did an app for NASCAR where we were doing the raceway. But I wanted to put a line drawing overlay on top of it so that I could pinpoint like ATMs and stuff like that. I ended up not doing that because it just worked without doing it. But I thought about doing that, but I just never figured out a way. But I did use custom icons, but that was strictly clear HTML5. And it did, on mine, I could do 2 fingerprints and zoom on it. Standard Java script. Yeah, I didn't do a phone gap app. It was an HTML5 app, and I could zoom in and out with Meetup. I mean, it worked fine. So, but it was also the new version. All JavaScript for new presenters. So, but I really like. I found all your stuff online. Even if it's not the next one, we can help you with the presentation and show you how to do it. If you built it and you want to demonstrate it to us, or get feedback, or have us install it and get good reviews. It's a great, friendly environment to do it in.
Okay.
We'll make constructive criticism, but in general, we're not going to, destroy your dreams. So that's always, welcome. Virus free. Yeah, ideally it's virus free. And if there's anything that you're interested in that you don't represent, but you're interested in learning more about, again, feel free to let us know via email or post on the other pages. We've done a lot of different presentations in the past. All the other GDG chapters do presentations as well. Plus, we do have access to some resources at Google, so we can probably get a presentation on it. Possibly even get someone from the next one to come speak to you on like our expert today. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for